Evening to everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Wishing you a happy Dashera.
Yes,
And
sir. Happy to share.
I welcome all the senior teachers of philosophy of our country and abroad. With this, I also welcome all the scholars of our country to be with us. So I can see the names of Dr. Alok Tandon sir, Professor Abhinas, Professor Jina, Professor Shami, Professor Radhamon Beresha, Professor Dr. Renwala ma'am, Hemnant sir, Purushottam sir, Sneha madam, and Santosh Kumar sir, and many other scholars and teachers philosophy that I do not want to explore all the names of the teachers and the viewers. I extend a hearty welcome to all of you to be with us on this Sunday webinar. Friends, today we have invited Dr. Rina Patel Padurkar ma'am, the Associate Professor, Department of Philosophy, Ramani Ranjan Sunjunala College of Arts, Science and Commerce, a lead college of University of Mumbai. And we know that Dr. Rina Patel ma'am, in association with Dr. Amita Balmik ma'am, is engaged herself in different philosophical activities throughout the year. We witnessed them on Facebook and on different platforms. So I extend a hearty welcome and regard to Dr. Rina Patel ma'am for agreeing with us to be the speaker of today's webinar. And I do not want to give a detailed introduction of Dr. Rina ma'am. Dr. Rina ma'am is a very senior teacher of philosophy, and he has contributed many research articles which have been published in different national and international journals. She has organized many state level and national level programs in her college that we witness. And Dr. Rina Madam has been invited by many institutions to deliver talks on the fundamental issues of philosophy. Dr. Rina Ma'am has been is a well-known person to philosophy family because we have invited earlier uh, as a speaker to deliver on different topics. So I do not want to give a detailed introduction of Rina Ma'am. I welcome her and welcome all the senior teachers of philosophy to be with us in the Sunday webinar. I welcome our admin, Dr. Pramod Kumar Das, and our co-admin, Dr. Om Narana Rao sir. And with this, once again, I welcome everybody. And today is a very beautiful topic, existentialism, the critique of Marin Heidegger on technology. And today, Heidegger's concept on technology will be very benefiting to all of us to have a new dimension of philosophy. So we all are waiting to listen to Dr. Rina Madam. I welcome her and request her to comment with the scheduled topic. Over to Ma'am Rina Ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Pramod Kumar Das, sir, Kailash Chandra Maharana, sir, Om Narayan Rao, sir, Alok Tandon, sir, Ranjit Ghosh, sir. Yes, how can I forget Amita Valmiki? Without her, nothing is possible. She always suggests me the topic. This topic also, I just told her that I want to do on Heidegger. Then she said, okay, why can't you do on the technology? Thank you, Amit ma'am, my dear students, and all the scholars present on this platform, which is very popular in India as well as abroad. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. And if I commit any mistake, please bear me and please guide me too. Thank you so much. Uh,
You're sharing your PPT?
yes, ma'am. Is it visible, ma'am? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, now it is
Yes.
visible.
Yes.
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 Yes. My topic is, as Maharana sir said, existentialism, critique of Heidegger and technology. We will know that Heidegger is divided into the early writing and the later writing. And in later writing, he tried to, we can say that he tried to criticize the technology. That he says that technology is not the only aspect which describe our existence. So what he speak, so priorly what our existence is, that we need to understand. So first we will try to understand what existentialism is. So this entire circle speaks about that. Here I being an individual, there are many choices are there. I live in past, I live in future, I live in present. So what exactly I am? Am I in the past? Am I in the future? Or am I in the present? That we will see, whether I'm just thrown into this world, or I'm embodied with many things, or there are just things happens in the life just as the chance or anything else. Is Are there social engagement just for the sake of social engagements are there? Political engagements are there, even though we consider the ethical engagements are there. So whether they are choiced, or they are just because I am thrown, because others are doing I am doing, that we will try to explore. So existentialism being is a philosophy that try to emphasize individual existence, freedom and choice. It is not itself a path to authoritarianism, but a means of individual freedom in decision making. So existentialism speaks that yes, decision making is very important. My choice is very important. Even though the freedom is limited, even though I'm thrown in this world, that limit in that limitation also that freedom is very important. And so existentialism says that I am responsible for my own decisions. So it is a view that human defines their own meaning in life. No one else can define my life. And try to make the rational decision despite existing in an irrational universe. So I am a rational being, and I try to give a definition to my own existence in a rational way into the irrational universe. So it try to focuses on the question of human existence and feeling that there is no purpose or explanation at the core of the existence. It is the concern with finding self and the meaning of life through free will, choice, and personal responsibility. The problem with the people that they can still make bad decisions even if they are free. Even though I'm free, I can make a bad choices. As the way I can make a bad choices, I can also make a good choices. Or rather than bad and a good distinction, I can say that I can make a bad choices and the right or good or right choices. So in fact, the premise of various laws in the world and the government structure is on it's made on the structure or the belief that people will make the bad choices, and therefore the rules and regulations are there. So what Heidegger speaks about on existentialism, he says that we do not say being is, time is, rather there is a being and there is a time. So here he is being a German philosopher. He was born in 1889 and he died in 1976. So we can see that it's a backdrop of the World War, where there was no value was given to the human life. So existentialism philosophy has been developed into that era where life is so important, existence is so important in this world. So his philosophy is known for its emphasis on the importance of human existence and its existentialism. He is one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century. His philosophy had a significant impact on the later philosophers too. So, what Heidegger speaks about on existentialism, he says that we do not say being is, time is, rather there is a being and there is a time. So, His philosophy is known for its thinking about the nature of being, particularly the nature of human existence. In his famous book, Sein und Zeit, that is being and time, or about being and time, in this book, he tried to explore the question of being. When he asked the question, what is being? What is the nature of human being? Is being is a different than the human being, or being is the same one? His question, his question entire book, you feel that when you just take the book in the hand, you will feel like what is exactly you want to try to explore it out with this. Where I am, who am I? That is the thing. So his philosophy is unique as he tried to bring philosophy back to that fundamental question of being from the structuralism, that which structuralism speaks about only the God, soul, life after death. But he says that very important, the existence. So his answer to this question is radically that human beings are the being towards death. He argued that the meaning of the world and life is the question of being, and that everything else is distraction from this real question. So I being in this world is very important. He also wrote in his later writings regarding the nature of art, religion, and politics. And this is so beautifully he tried to speaks about in his very try to explains the Van Gogh painting, or the structure of the broken Greek temple. So that he says that human being is not existing only in one aspect, but there are variety of aspects the human beings has. So his critique of metaphysics, relies on his interpretation of his history of Western philosophy, which he argues that it has been fundamentally misunderstood. That his philosophy try to depends on the idea that the world's existence connects to human existence. He believed that philosophy should return to the question of being rather than only structuralism. And to do that, he thought that we must get back to the question of existence. So, in his book Being and Time, he makes the claim that we are all running away from the idea of our own death, denying our own morality, and pretending that we will live forever, even though we are all going to die. This sometimes try to give you the pessimistic attitude, but exactly he is not pessimistic. His concern with the role of technology in the modern life and his emphasis on the fundamental temporality of human existence set him apart from many of his contemporaries. His work also helped inspire the philosophers who come to be known as the Heideggerians, who continued his analysis of the nature of being, time, and language, because everything happens in this world only, in this universe. So we try to explore how human beings can change, how they relate to the world and one another. It attempts to articulate a way of being in the harmony with the essence of being, a form of being in tune with how the world is, where we can say that, so when Sartre says that existence is need to precede the essence, not essence need to precede the existence, what earlier philosophers were talking it about. So same thing we also try to find the same concept is there into the Heidegger, but Heidegger never called himself as an existentialist. But we come to know from his writing that he is an existential philosopher, as we know that Kierkegaard is considered as a father of existentialism, but he also never writes that he is an existentialist. So it very nicely says that to live a meaningful life, the existentialists believe we must confront the fact that we will one day no longer be around. In other words, we must begin at the end, for the end is the beginning. When we realize that each moment could be our last and that we won't live forever, each moment gains greater significance. And time is seen as our own a treasure which we must spend carefully. In the modern terminology, the phrase YOLO means you only live once has much the same sentiment. And indeed, the fact that this and other phrases are so widespread in our culture today shows how deeply existential philosophy is needed in our day to day life. Heidegger makes us to realize that there is no right way to live life, The only right way is being true and authentic to yourself, because most of the time we are living inauthentic life. When we live by considering others all the time, we become conformist or outcast, either accepting what they say or rejecting what they say. But in either case, we are making decision based solely on others and not on our things. So rather than our own true authentic self, we are with the inauthentic way or life. So what exactly the authentic life is? Heidegger and other existentialist places much more emphasis on the importance of individual authentic experience in the world. This indicates that each of us has a unique role to play within a limited choice and limited time we have, and it is not so much a controversial idea as a mere statement of fact. The word authentic existence comes from the German word Eigentlichkeit, which is equivalent of the English word authenticity, means real or a proper own existence. No one can own my existence. Therefore, he says that no one can die my death. I can only die my own death. So, authentic existence does not deny or disown the attitude of everyday existence into. The everyday use of the term authenticity tends to mean real, genuine, true, and inauthentic means a fake, fraud, imposter. I do because others says, or I'm wearing a mask and I'm trying to do it because others expect me to do that. But Heidegger says that don't do because other expects. You do what you want. These terms are more value judgments with something inherently better than inauthentic. The idea of authentic wishes to liberate the individuals from the constraint of their own socio-historical limitations and to establish being a limitless potentials where we are free to be whatever we want, unconstrained. We are not constrained by the values of instrumental or calculative thought prized by social exigencies and ideologies. So it means that we have to use our potentialities as free beings to overcome unfavorable circumstances, fight against or protest against the ugly situation, but as authentic being. We at the same time inherit and choose our own possibilities. So in transcending our historical condition, our aim should be free from constraint, any kind of compulsions, free from the they, and be true to who we are. So they here comes when we comes about who I am, differing from they. The concept of Dasein is very important. So Heidegger is concerned with how we can understand what being in the world means and our experience of it. He finds out that the first phenomenological fact of existence is that we are always already out there in the world. We are in this world. He described our human being as opposed to being of an inanimate object or non-human animal. I am not a inanimate or non-human, but I am with them as a Dasein. So, to describe this, to describe human being as a Dasein is an attempt to leave behind philosophical notion of the individual as subject, and more broadly, the distinction subject and object of the individual and the world, that is interior consciousness juxtaposed against the objective world outside of it. So the duality which we speaks about the subject of object is try to define it. I am there in this world, but I am surrounded by that object. So for Heidegger, we are out there embedded in the world, engaged with the tools and the object of our experience. Having analyzed our being in the world within the mode of everydayness, he now considers the possible ways in which we can relate to it. So Dasein is already in a world. So we try to find ourselves thrown into a particular situation. So this refers to our facticity. This has to do with the state of the mind as it try to anticipate the rather indefinite time of death. I am there. So the unique deposit of given facts that makes up each person past. If I am there, so shall I accept my own existence and make a choices or a decisions, or I should confront what is already there. So that is very important if I'm thrown into this world. So Dasein being along with the world, we engage in things that are ready to hand within the world as well as with other human beings. So, however, we tend to become absorbed into our situation, losing ourselves in the world of impersonal, anonymous they. We experience this fallenness within our present situation. This analysis indicates that temporality of Dasein. I cannot understand my experience apart from what I have been, what I am, and what I will be as human beings. We make choices because we care about our own existence. Unlike a busy ant following the dictates of its biological programming, we are beings who are structured by our possibilities and whose existence necessarily involves in making the choices. Even though I am structured, but still there are choices. So Dasein cannot be defined as a set of a fixed properties. Instead, we all are characterized as a set of possibilities. Even though we are in the structure, there is no fixed properties are there, but possibilities are given, and we have the responsibility of choosing between those possibilities. So choosing what we will. So we are unique in the sense that we are the only kind of entity in the world able to raise the question about what it means to exist. If I exist means what? That is a really important question. So you can see that here the Dasein is there and he is surrounded by many things. So now my choice is whether to go to right or left, up or down, or what to choose. So there are two ways of choosing. He says that Dasein always understand itself in terms of its existence, in terms of a possibility of itself. So to be itself or not itself. So Dasein has either chosen this possibility itself or got itself into them or grown up in them. So Dasein is the only being that has freedom of choice between alternatives to stand out or not to stand out. He alone has the capacity to choose or decide. Hence comes the issue of authentic or inauthentic existence. So Heidegger distinguished these two ways of living when he says that the first is inferior one, which is inauthentic, and the other is a superior, which is known as the authentic existence. So when Heidegger speaks about the essence, he says that essence has a different meaning in different times. Essence is usually a translation of the German noun Wasen. Yet for Heidegger, essence means Wasen is more like a verb meaning something that endures through time. So Heidegger writes in his introduction to metaphysics, where he says that the substantive Wasen does not originally mean whatness, that is was sein, what is there, curiosity, but rather enduring as present Gegenwart, that is I am in this world, presensing and absencing. So on this basis we need to understand what inauthentic life is. When he says speaks about inauthentic life is inferior, what is the meaning of inferiority? Inauthenticity comes from the German word Uneigentlichkeit, means it disown. This is related to the fact that man is thrown into the world where there are other existence. If I consider my choice as pre-given and just accept the situation, I have drifted into a grown up with, as though I had no possibilities. I will live inauthentically. I am in this world. I will not take any decision. I will not make any decision. I will not make any choices. Already what is there, if I'll just accept and follow, then I'm living in authentic life. Even though possibilities are there, I said I don't want to go with the possibility. So it is a herd mentality. Because others are doing, I am doing. So you can say that there's a crowd, so it's like a crowd mentality. So man surrender to the they self at the expense of his selfhood. He engages in banal existence by being absorbed or immersed in the crowd consciousness. That I consciousness is not there, I hood is not there, but only the crowd hood or crowd consciousness is there. So his thinking and power of expression move on the level of commonplace and naive interpretation. There is a mass existence that insists on the blind acceptance of norms and the community spirit. So it is a Das Man mentality or the they self mentality. Here, I'm not afraid about any kind of anxiety, dread, fear, or faith. Even though he says that if authentic life will be there, then anxiety will be there, dread will be there will be the fear will be there. What will happen? Here I'm not responsible because what happened? Because others have done, therefore I have done it. So here this I is sacrificed to the persistent and pressing they. And to the question, who is human being? We must answer indifferent and anonymous that who is human being? It's not that Das Sein, but it is the crowd that is Das Man. So I do because others do. So by mass, we mean by routine manner of life in which his possibilities are taken over and dictates to it by social pressures. So sure, man is thrown into the world where there are other existent, but in this situation, he is expected to take an initiative towards discovering the meaning of his own existence. If I don't discover my own existence into the crowd or into the universe or into the life which I'm thrown into it, then my life will be inauthentic life. So I-hood existence is uncritical participation in the world as it is. So there is everywhere the desire to conquer nature, but in the process, the value of the conquered himself, who is man, is destroyed and his very existence is threatened because of the inauthentic life or thus man concept. So this is because man advances technologically every day where he don't want to make any kind of a choices. He's so preoccupied that he's worried about the technology and not about himself. That is how he loses himself in things. To gain the world amounts to becoming lost in it, and in this way he is engulfed by the world of things, that is the Sein. The preoccupation with thing is coupled with the solitude for the other existence. But in Dasein is existent with mit Dasein. There are, we can say that four world, he tried to explore it out. Physical world is there. Then he says about the moral world is there, social world is there, and spiritual world is there. So Dasein try to say that if I exist into the social world, that is the met Dasein. Dasein's relationship with the co-Dasein, that others, otherwise called as a being with others, mit-Sein, is inescapable. I know that I am in. If I am thrown into the world, I'm with others. How can I really escape myself from them? But even though if I am with them, I need to make the choices. And that is the authentic life. But sometimes it takes degenerated from forms and swings into inauthentic existence because I'm thrown into or with because I'm with others. which set in where there is unregulated empathy. This type of interdependence is an aberration. The genuine human and personal existence is suppressed in this case, because I work, I think, I eat, I dressed up, I write because the way others are doing it out. Because it's like, you can say that if my son or a daughter in a school or a college, or if they want to, so okay, because my neighbor's son or a daughter has got the good college, so my son also need to get into the good colleges, or my daughter need to get into good college, or if they are becoming engineer, my son or my daughter need to become an engineer. It's a das man mentality. Why can't they have their own way to explore themselves? That Heidegger is trying to say. So it gives room for depersonalization and dehumanization. In this case, man surrenders to the surrenders to the they self at the expense of his selfhood. So if you want to explore your selfhood, then try to overcome they self, he says. So dasman is not easy to translate, since normally man is a pronoun in German and takes no article. It's called as a man. So the phrase is usually translated as the they. Although the pronoun man can be variously translated as people, others, they, public opinion, and most probably we think because other things. We don't think because I want to think. We think because people makes us to think, therefore we think. And this is a really bad mentality. Because others are watching the YouTube, so I want to. Others are on the Facebook, so I want to be. It is not because I want to be on that. So use the technology that Heidegger tried to say, that because you want, not because others want to make the use of it. So das man means other people in the abstract, generic sense, not a set of individuals, not as an organization or body, but generally as carriers or postulated carriers of cultural moods, expectation, or norms. So Heidegger says it means the others, but not definitely other. It is not this one, not that one, not oneself, not some people, and not the sum of them all. Tasman is a sort of horizontal version of them and out there in the world, or them all around me. I criticize somebody else because my friend told me to criticize him or her. So it's a Dasman mentality. So Heidegger maintains that in our ordinary day-to-day living, we conduct ourselves with reference to this projected generic they, referring to it, ascribing to it responsibility for what we do, and seeking fulfillment through it. This way of living, Heidegger calls our they self. It is not our real or authentic life. So we are disguising ourselves into the universe, he says that. The latter can emerge only after the individual isolates himself from the others and question conventions and habitual assumption by philosophical inquiry. If I bracket others, then only I can exist in this world. Bracket, they are there, but I should not think according to them. That is the that bracketing is needed, that Heidegger says. As here, really important that we need to speak about the Nietzsche also. For Nietzsche, this conventional existence is expressed in the herd mentality, while Kierkegaard, being the father of existentialism, finds it in the crowd, which he abhors. And so a crowd in its very concept is the untruth by reason of the fact that it renders the individual completely impertinent and irresponsible, or at least weakens his sense of responsibility by reducing it to the fraction. So Kierkegaard described the modern society as a network of relation in which individuals are leveled into abstract phantoms known as the public. And Kierkegaard emphasized the individual over the numeric masses. Kierkegaard maintained that God has no relation to mankind as a whole, because your choice, mankind is not making it out. The individual is more important than the universal, the law or the morality we are talking it about. When Abraham was commanded by God to kill his own son Isaac, the God, that is the absolute being, was contravening the universal. So Kierkegaard did not prescribe lawlessness, much less anarchy, which is ruled by numeric masses. Rather, each individual must come into a relation with that absolute, the religious stage, where the the Kierkegaard speaks about it, whereby the ethical stage can be properly established. For the religious stage, ethical stage is very important. Religion cannot exist without ethics, that we need to understand. So therefore he says that life is not a problem to be solved, but it is a reality to be experienced. For experiencing, we need to be in this world, we need to exist. If we live according to or on the dictates of other, we cannot experience what life is. So the modern public, in contrast to ancient and medieval communities, is a creation of the press, which is the only instrument capable of holding together the mass of unreal individuals who never are and never can be united in an actual situation or organization. In this sense, society has become a realization of abstract thought held together by an artificial and all pervasive medium speaking for everyone and for no one. So here we are talking about everyone, but we are not talking about that one individual. Therefore, being an authentic existence proclaims that the practical uniqueness of the individual is important. And here man recognizes and affirms responsibility for all his actions. So I need to shoulder my own responsibility. Therefore, the authentic existence consists in an analysis of the self. Although distinct from the inauthentic existence, they have some common characteristics. Actual participation in the world means that an existent being has a relationship to surroundings or surrounding objects that he uses as an instrument of existence. That is Sein. Existence in a determined situation. This means that every situation is essentially individuated, limited, and present one of the infinite number of possible ways of realizing existence. So, therefore, if existence means what here, I am existing, my I am there, my existence can be defined with the surrounding objects. But here, my decision, my choice, my responsibility is very important. So, when we think on this note, it says that the inauthentic life is distinct from authentic life in many ways. The inauthentic life is characterized by its banality, that is, it's the public ego, or it is a Dasman mentality, and here the individual is not important, but the mass or the herd mentality is very important. So therefore the subject of such a life is not the individual but the public. So the one like many, it's like we are um, shrinking into the herd mentality, where personal responsibilities are not there. But if I want to live authentic life into the herd, then I need to make the choices. So the result of the self enstrangment of human existence, which helps eventually to blotting out of its possibility and its disintegration in the relevancy of everyday life, then authentic existence is very important, because living authentically means that in the face of thrownness, I'm ready to face that dread, fear, anxiety. So Dasein recognizes that he is the one who has to make choices from the realm of his own potentialities. So Dasein is one who makes the choices. Authenticity is taking hold of myself in my own way, not the way others want to be. Authenticity expresses I-hood, not we-hood, gives one personal identity. Authentic existence proclaims the practical uniqueness of the individual. So thus then becomes responsible for his own action. Therefore, to live authentically means to exist. This in turn earns to stand out from the Latin word exte, that is, to be outside the anonymous masses, to emerge from the world in which we find ourselves, and to accept our situation with all limitations. To exist means to both, to stand apart, to withdraw, and to stand out. So, according to Heidegger, technology in this concept of thus and it's very important. Technology itself, he says that itself is not good or bad. But the problem is that technological thinking or calculative thinking has become the only form of thinking. And there we need to overcome. So Heidegger saw that the essence of technology nowadays is enframing, gestaling, which means that everything in nature is standing reserve the stand. Enframing as an apparatus is one way of uncovering, which for Heidegger it means truth. So truth can appear in many ways, and the danger is that this truth of representational calculative thinking becomes the only truth. So we claim that the calculative way of thinking must be changed, and we propose that Gelassenheit, that is releasement or letting go, is the remedy for that. So it does not mean some kind of mysticism or irrationality. Rather, the notion of Gelassenheit, which includes the idea that learn very importantly from the two perspective, that is technology as a mode of disclosing, bringing forth, and technology as a techne, which we have seen in the Greek tradition or into the Aristotle way. So Heidegger intended to show technology as a mode of disclosing or revealing being. According to him, the word that's techne is a word of a Greek origin. Technikon means that which belongs to techne. According to him, one should understand two things about the meaning of the word techne. One is that techne is the name not only for the activities and skills of the craftsman, but also for the fine art. So techne, it's not only technology, but fine arts, which he tried to explore in his later writings, where he tried to discover the Van Gogh's painting or the broken Greek temple. Techne belongs to bringing forth. That is the to poesis. Poesis is a poem. It's something poetic. The second thing we should understand about techne is even more important, that we should not only focus upon the skill or the activities, but we can say that Dasein has another aspect of life, that is the poesis. So technology being a kind of a poesis, it's just like a poesis can mean and either a material object or the art in a poem. He gives the example of a silversmith who brings together the form and matter together through his technique and try to reveal the object. But his skills, not only this material skills are there, but the creativity also goes. Therefore, Heidegger says that the essence of technology is by no means anything technological. According to him, Aristotle distinguishes between episteme and techne, and indeed with respect to what and how they reveal. So techne is a mode of alethuin. It reveals what does not bring itself forth and does not yet lie here before us. Whatever can look and turn out one way and now another. Whoever builds a house or a ship reveals what is to be brought forth. according to the terms of the four modes of occasioning. So this revealing gathers together in advance the aspect and the matter of a ship or a house with a view to the finishing things expect as completed, and from this gathering determines the manner of its construction. So from the earliest time till Plato, we know that the word techne is linked with the word episteme, and this episteme is very important, not only techne. So both words are terms of knowing in the wider sense. They mean to be entirely at home in something, to understand and be expert in it. Some knowingly provides an opening up. As an opening up, it's the revealing. So here, Dasein can reveal himself in this episteme, not only with the technique. So technology is not technicality. So that is very important. We need to understand. So he raised the question, therefore. Heidegger reaffirms his assertion that technology is a mode of disclosing Dasein. Technology is a mode of revealing Dasein. Technology comes to presence in the realm where revealing and unconcealment take place, where aletheia, truth happens. So when I do any kind of painting or I draw or make any sculptures, I reveal something. So it also reveals, but it always reveals something else. So creation is standing reserve, in which what we create is always used for something else. The intrinsic value of the revealing has been lost these days, and now it is purely instrumental, that we are technological, that revealing concept has gone somewhere. So humanity itself become standing reserve. Another important part is about enframing, is that this is the way we enframe reality into categories, which makes us biased and limits how much we can reveal. I want to this much only. Like, okay, now chat gpt has come. Now we also come to know that there is another thing called that digital arrest. So we are confined to that much only. So the problem of technology is not any machine in specific, rather our enframing and our approach of standing reserve, accept the way it is. Everything, like I'm not getting any meaning, we ask the Google. Earlier we used to open up the dictionary and find out many meanings, but now Google is there. Google will guide us everywhere. The technology is guiding. We are not guiding the technology, but technology is guiding. So Heidegger's analysis of technology in the question concerning technology consists in three main claims. He says that technology is not an instrument, it is a way of understanding the world. Technology is not a human activity, but develops beyond human control. Technology is the highest danger, risking us to only see the world through technological thinking. So he says everywhere we remain unfree and chained to the technology. Whether we passionately affirm or deny it, we affirm that an ancient doctrine holds that the essence of a thing is considered to be what the thing is. Thus, we ask the question concerning technology when we ask what it is. According to him, technology is a means to an end. Technology itself is a contrivance. In Latin, is an instrumentum. So it is not instrumentum that we need to understand now. According to Heidegger, modern technology is a provoking setting of disclosure. However, it is not a disclosure or a revealing in the sense of poesis, but rather a revealing in the sense of challenging. That is heraus fordern. That is the provocation. In the words of Heidegger, I quote, the revealing that rules in modern technology is a challenging herausfordern, which puts to nature the unreasonable demand that it supplies energy which can be extracted and stored as such. Unquote. It is not revealing bringing forth in the sense of a Greek technique, but a provoking or challenging sort. For example, track of a land can be provoked or challenged into yielding coal or the ore. This part of the earth now reveals itself as a coal mining district, the soil as a mineral deposit. The field was formerly tended or set in order by a farmer, that is enclosed and cultivated. So today the cultivation has come under the grip of another kind of setting in order, which it sets upon the nature, that is a technology in a instrumental manner. So in other words, it is tainted in an entirely different sense by the motorized food industry and artificial intelligence, artificial fertilization, that is, it is provoke or a challenge. So according to Heidegger, the danger lies in the fact that the essence of technology is enframing and it is holding control within destiny, and destiny at any given time starts man on a way of revealing. So Heidegger, in Heidegger's word, I quote, as soon as what is unconcealed no longer concern man even as subject, but exclusively as standing reserve, we are now, Dasein is a reserve, and man in the midst of the objectlessness is nothing but the order of the standing reserve. Then he comes to the very bringing of the precipitous fall, that is, he comes to the point where he himself will have to be taken as a standing reserve. So now what life is? Yes to the technology or no to the technology? We need to understand what is. So when Heidegger writes about the technology, modern technology and machine technology, he mainly refers to the technology of the second industrial revolution, where he addresses the dangers of nuclear power and gene technology. These phenomena belong to the era that could call the third industrial revolution, because we know that the existential philosophy is developed on the backdrop of the World War, where we have seen the massacre. So third industrial revolution begin in the late 20th century with the rise of the microelectronics, microcomputers. It continues nowadays with the globalization, robotization, digitalization, the internet, gene technology, AI, hybrid welfare, immaterialization of the production process, nanotechnology, quantum mechanics, and cognitive capitalism. Within the fourth industrial revolution, now human behavior integrate with digital equipments and become part of the global internet of things. Each human transform into a cyborg type being that becomes one with the digital smart device. Devices has become smart, but we have forgot that we are smarter than the device. The devices are already integrated with human thinking and action. Thus, the interface between the human and digital smart devices is blurring. Therefore, what I said, the essence of technology is by no means anything technological that we need to understand on this backdrop, because everything, like everything we are getting on, and we said that yes, this is there and we need to, because of this AI technology, what will be the future of the countries, that we need to understand. If or the wars will be fought on the AI technology, then what will happen? That is another threat. So Heidegger strongly opposed the view that technology is a means to an end or a human activity. These two approaches, which Heidegger called respectively the instrumental and anthropological definitions, are indeed correct, but do not go deep enough. As he says, they are not yet true. He points out technological objects are means for end and are built and operated by human beings. But the essence of technology is something else entirely. Just as the essence of a tree is not itself a tree, Heidegger points out, so the essence of technology is not anything technological. What then is the technology if it is neither a means to an end nor a human activity? According to Heidegger, technology must be understood as a way of revealing Dasein. So Heidegger use of the word essence has a different meaning at different times. Essence is usually a translation of, as we said, that the Vasan. So here it is the whatness is very important, and bracketing many things is very important in this world, that we need to say. Therefore, Gelassenheit concept is very important. Gelassenheit is thinking that let things be in their being, let the world to be. Gelassenheit is opposite of the Gestalt and is an active way to be in the world. The notion of Gelassenheit includes the idea of to let learn. This learn is more difficult than learning itself, because the task of letting learn involves learning to things. Are we really thinking? That matters a lot. Nevertheless, modern technology is also revealing. Without this, there would be no hope. Gestalt is one way of uncovering, and this means truth for Heidegger. Yet here Heidegger also sees a great danger that truth can appear in many ways, and it would be danger for the truth of representational calculative thinking to become the only truth. So we can understand Gestalt as the final appearance of metaphysics, where all things are conceived as beings in the technological world. Yet it is a very difficult task to heal from the disease of domination of technological thinking, Gestalt, while maintaining a healthy portion of technological thinking. To heal and to maintain it is very far winding. So here, where we speak about the far winding, it indicates that in today's world, flight. Heidegger says that man today he's not thinking, he's running away from the thinking. So flight from thinking is taking place, and that we need to stop. So even when man is thoughtless, it does not mean that all things end. So what we can do? So there are two kinds of thinking. The solution what Heidegger tries to give, that calculative thinking and meditative thinking. So calculative thinking is related to the technology, and meditative thinking is related to the Gelassenheit. So both kinds of thinkings are necessary. Uh, Problems arise when either way of thinking takes on the superior power positions. So they need to be balanced out. So calculative thinking and meditative thinking is balanced, then we can sort out the problem related to the technology, and thus Zain can reveal more authentically into the inauthentic world. So calculative technological thinking has become the dominant way of thinking, though we can say that the problem is there, but still option can be possible with the meditative thinking. Calculative thinking can be measurable with the meditative thinking. So the answer to the dominance of technology thinking is to say yes and no to the technology at the same time. So we should say yes to the technology in a limited sense and no to the technology which is dominating us. So saying both yes and no means letting things be as they are. That is the Gelassenheit. So what is needed is so-called Farwendung of calculative thinking in a meditative thinking. Thank you. These are my references. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Rina ma'am, for your very reflective talk on existentialism, critique of Marin Heidegger's on technology. Madam, you made a very beautiful conceptual clarification on Heidegger's existentialism in relation to technology. And you have presented Heidegger as the most critical thinker on existentialism, who has given thoughtful clarification on being, freedom, choice, and the technology. And you have very clearly said that how he said that I'm responsible for my life and existence. And you have very clearly said on the role of technology that Heidegger said in at the, in modern life and human existence. Madam, you have made a very beautiful conceptual analysis referring to Heidegger on the authentic life and the unauthentic life. And you have said how Heidegger said that be true and authentic to life, because each individual has a unique role to play. And you said that how in referring to authentic existence, you said how you do what you give value, that is as a free being. And to Heidegger, that is Heidegger has given importance to it. And as for the state of mind, you have very clearly said that how he says that is, I accept my own existence. I care about my existence and I care my choice. And you have made that how that is inauthentic life it's said to be inferior and authentic life said to be superior. So that is, you have very clearly said that how Heidegger said that the technology is not good or bad. That is the essence of, and Heidegger has given the essence of technology. And you said that how the essence of technology that is has a very prime position that in the modern day. And regarding the Heidegger's use of technique, that you have said that it's a mode of doing, it's a mode of disclosing the potentialities. It's a mode of skill, it's a skill of doing that is what it produced. And you have said that how technology is a means to an end and to reveal the nature of truth. So you have given a very comprehensive idea on Heidegger's notion of technology. You have very clearly said that how he distinguishes between the common understanding of technology as an instrument and the essence of technology. And he said how the essence of technology is not technological or it is not technicality, because technology is about the technological, etc. And technology represents a distinctive mode of revealing the truth. So you have very clearly explained all the things and you explained in the light of Heidegger that is shaping the human existence, and how technology is a way of understanding the world. It is a way of revealing the truth. So I do not want to explain that is summarize all the things that you have said. It is very difficult in my part to make a summary of your talk, and you have very clearly given the kinds of modern technology, and you have made the two kinds of thinking very clear. That is the calculative technological thinking and the meditative things. So you have given a very beautiful picture of Heidegger's notion of technology. So it has benefited us. Thank you so much, and congratulations to you for giving such a beautiful talk that is on Heidegger. So thank you, madam. Now I request Dr. K. Umunarao to carry on the interactive session. Over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you, Dr. Rina Patel Madam, for a beautiful lecture. You have shifted from Varkari mystics to existential philosophers. Now it's a great move. Thank you for the lecture also. It was beautiful. It was very good, and I too learned from it. Well, straightforward, let us move to Dr. Alok Tandon, sir, for his observations. Namaskar, sir. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar, ji. Thank you very much, Professor Rao, for giving this opportunity to me. And before that, I must thank Madam for Rina Madam for presenting a very, must say, a comprehensive treatment of Heidegger's authentic way of living and relating it to his criticism or his understanding of modern technology. But I think there are many questions regarding Heidegger which need to be asked. But before that, I would like her to clarify one thing, sometimes when we read Heidegger, a word being and Dasein, they come, always come. So what is the difference between being and Dasein? What does Heidegger mean by these words? It must be made more clear. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to understand Heidegger's philosophy. Another point I would like to ask is that, okay, how to make a choice? Is there any ethical criterion given by Heidegger by which a person who wants to live an authentic life make his or her choices? Because making a decision in freedom is not sufficient. It remains a somewhat, one can make an authentic decision to commit a crime also. He can do evils in the world. And we must look into how Heidegger supported Hitler's Nazism. And his whole philosophy was very much taken into sort of.
Sir, you are not audible.
So how this philosophy will not lead to a support of a sort of Nazism? This is a question, and this is a very practical type of question because Heidegger himself landed into that. One more thing I would like to comment upon, that when Heidegger talks about inauthentic living, the question comes, what is there in human being which leads or which makes him captive of inauthentic living? We know that there is a concept of bad faith in Jean-Paul Sartre, another existentialist. And there he will say that it is in the natural quality of consciousness itself that man is landed into bad faith. But is there anything like this in Heidegger? Or is it only a resolute will which will take oneself out of inauthentic living? Then why should I choose inauthentic living? This is also a question. Coming to your analysis of technology in Heidegger, we know that Heideggerian critique of technology is very, very foundational. Everybody accepts it. But it is very, very pessimistic also, in the sense that it gives us no alternative except meditative thinking. And it leads to running away and leads one to go to the mountains and write poetry and listen to music. What about technology itself? Can it itself not be reformulated in a way that it may be more meaningful for the human being, for the masses also? Because we know technology is controlled by the corporates and the states for their power and profit. So unless this nexus is broken and technology is made more democratic, how can we create an alternative technology, not going back to pre-modern days of meditative thinking? Another point is very important when he talks about techne. Why does he leave out praxis? In Greek philosophy, there is another concept that is praxis. And when we come to praxis, then that praxis can be used to make an alternative technology. So I will not go into the details of Heidegger, critique of Heidegger done by Marcuse, Habermas, and Feinberg, but still I will say that this understanding of essence of technology is itself very, very problematic. We need to understand that there is no essence of technology. And there are many ways we can look into technology. And there are many ways to look into technology as beneficial as well as destructive to human life. So unless we take this ambiguity of technology into consideration and try to develop a more human technology on the lines suggested by Feinberg and others, I think Heidegger's critique of technology leads us into a very, very pessimistic world without hope. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I want to say that when he speaks about the Dasein, here Dasein is with capital D, and that is with the capital B. It means that the human being, that we need to understand. When he speaks about the being, that is the other entities, that he speaks with the Sein, that is in a small s. That also we need to understand. That it's not, when he speaks about the technology, what you said, that yes, the early writing of the Heidegger, it leads us to the pessimism. But when we read the later writing of the Heidegger, we come to know that it is moving from pessimism to the optimism, that Dasein cannot be explored only with the whatever inauthentic life is there. That is the concept of what the dread, fear which is there. It's not a bad faith, we can say that with the way it is, but the whatever dread, fear which is there. But in that context, we need to understand that yes, if I have made any mistake, I am responsible for it. I am not going according to what others are saying. I am shouldering everything. So how can, if I am shouldering everything, if I am responsible for my actions, and if I am doing the rational choices, he always write that rational choices into the irrational universe. And when the rational choices need to be made, that when we think, and then only we can make the choices. If I can't think and if I make the choices, then it cannot be called as a choice. So how it can, my choice, which is my choice, which lead to the inauthentic life? It will not. Yes, it will take me into the fear. It will somewhere I will also have that anxiety. Yes, am I doing right? But if I lead the Dasman mentality, I'm not responsible. I always say that it happens because others are doing. Because one, it's like saying that I'm following one group because others are following. It's not my choice now, that what I want to do it. So naturally,
May I intervene a little, that when millions of Jews were forced to gallows, how can they say, and how can Heidegger say that they are making a choice? Are there choice every time, everywhere?
I've not understood your question, sir.
Okay, you could carry on.
No, sir, please. Millions of views in what sense you are
The
talking
question was that the freedom of choice is very limited, and many times there is no choice at all. The survival is at stake. When Jews were put into gallows or in that established, and they were put before the killing squads and they were killed, what was the choice before them? There was no choice before them.
Uh, uh, Rina madam,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
intervene, because from long time this conversation is going on. I was wondering that existentialism, Alok Saab, is basically subjective. It is subjectivity that rules. We have to go away from objectivity. This is a strong criticism of Heidegger, that he was very much inclined and maybe was working during the time of Nazi regime, and therefore he was more towards that. But that is a wrong concept, because I think what he means is a choice is again conceptual, and that goes ad infinitum. There are not limited choices. It goes and ad infinitum. I'm not talking about the practicality of choices. I don't think so. Heidegger is into, though he is existentialist, he's talking about being, and distinguished from Dasein being consciousness. I think Rina's paper very explicitly, I'm so happy with this paper because it cleared all my doubts. Thank you, Rina madam. I think that it is a conceptual element. The freedom that you experience of choosing is a conceptual element. And when you are in that element, even if I'm confined in a particular way, still my thinking is not bound. And the keys to my prison door is with me. So this kind of choice, I think Heidegger is talking about. And that resonates very much in the writings of the mystics also. So though he's very much atheistic and everything understood, but he's very mystical at a particular point. Heidegger, when he talks about Dasein is like a fountain of explosion. It is consciousness, and this consciousness is it's ineffable. It's completely ineffable. It is only to be experienced. And who is the experiencing person? That is the being. So I think she talks in this context, and this paper made me realize this. If I'm not wrong, Rina, I think...
Yes, ma'am, correct. So Dasein is a consciously making the choices. Dasein is not making consciously, it's not. If it is not consciously, then it is an inauthentic life. How can we call it as authenticity? Therefore, he says that understand the concept of techne from the Greek point of view, not from the instrumentality. Techne is not instrumentality. That is very important. That is, it has the one concept, that is the poiesis. Therefore, the pessimism which we speak earlier, that is overruled in the later writings of Heidegger.
May I differ? Because I think this mysticism, can it solve the problem of technology in this modern world?
Yes,
There are only 1 or 2% mystics are there. And when we go to mysticism, we go back to some sort of stoic ethics. And this type of stoic ethics is somewhat acceptance of whatever is happening there. So this type of attitude will not lead to any change in this world, and no change even in the technological sphere also. So I am very much doubtful that this later Heidegger is still very, very pessimistic, and he is running away from the problem.
Sir, I don't feel so. Because if you'll read the writings of the later Heidegger, you will come across that whenever he tried to explore, like Van Gogh's painting, Van Gogh painting, he tried to say that it tried to reveal what is the life of the person. Through the painting of the Van Gogh, we understand that the shoes which he tried to speak about it, what kind of a life that person is living in. So that is once again, it is an exploration. So exploration is with me, that I need to rationally understand. If I go irrationally, problem is not going to sort it out. That that what I get from Heidegger as a student.
Is there any rational ground to make choices? That is the fundamental question, because even our choices, free choices, are also irrational. I told you that it can be evil also.
Then how can we rationalize it? Because rationality should be based on the morality. So therefore, morality always based on the rationality. So it's go hand in hand. And therefore, if we try to distinct it out, we cannot survive only then. See, like I have a mobile phone with me. How I need to use it, whether it is used rationally or irrationally, it is in my hand. I need to. Shall I be on the mobile just for the sake of it, watching all the YouTube videos, or watching unnecessarily, taking just clicking the buttons? That is irrationality. But why I am using, if I understand, the problem will sort it out. Like right mom, just beginning like my lectures, I am trying it out. That it was with one of my another email ID, I could not able to log in only. Then I thought because of some problem with it, was because it is constantly showing me that give us the feedback. How will I give the feedback to them? So my time will go up. So I logged in with another email ID. So technology has its own glitches. So rationally I switched myself from one mail ID to the another mail ID. I did not stick to that. So naturally, if I want to make the choices, rationally I need to move from one to the another. That is very important. So I, if I try to conceal myself, I'm not going to. If I always, if I become a conformist, then problem is not going to sort it out. Yes, because others are saying I will accept it. If or I will make a one mindset, I have to go with that mindset only. Then my exploration will not be there. I have to come out of the mindset, and the solution is there. Like I get what these are the readings from the Heidegger. What I get it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Rina Madam, well, still from the query raised by Dr. Alapton, and what comes to my mind is you speak that the world is irrational, you speak that the world is inauthentic. What makes this world inauthentic? Well, you make a suggestion, we make rational choices. Is that Heideggerian philosophy has not made human beings to live rationally, to make authentic choices? You say the world itself is inauthentic, you say the world itself is irrational. And as Dr. Tandon has said, if the suggestion of Heidegger is finally to land in a meditative thinking and not calculative thinking, so you talk of a world which is unauthentic, you talk of a world which is irrational. So we are mostly confined to not a meditative thinking, but the sort of thinking, the mass thinking or the calculative thinking that you go on with. So Heideggerian philosophy, so even Dr. Tandon talks of, if at all you want to, his philosophy wants us to land into a mystical fold, and we are only with 1-2% mystics and 95 or 98% well, as Tandon, Dr. Tandon suggests. So Heideggerian philosophy has not really influenced us. So how do you take this? That is the problem, which I think what makes us to live mostly inauthentic. We are not going in an authentic way. Rational choices are not coming. So what is the, and when he also says what is the criterion which maybe Heidegger might be suggesting, that makes us to make a choice, a free choice, a rational choice, so that we make our life authentic. So that is the problem. That is the problem. In spite of this philosophy, we are not landing into a mystical fold. So that is the problem. Why this world is still inauthentic? That is the problem that Dr. Tandem carries, and maybe you have a solution to that. You have a way out.
Yes, sir. What you are saying, that is correct. I do agree with you, but I want to say that here, if I am thrown into the irrational world, naturally I want to make a rational choices. So what criteria? Rationality is the criteria. Here rationality is criteria to understand. If, and he never says that only meditative thinking, he also speaks about the calculative thinking, but that meditative thinking need to be balanced with the calculative thinking. He's not saying that you literally try to dispose it of, or try to go away from the calculative thinking. He says yes, calculative thinking is required, but in a limited manner. Now I need to understand, if I want to use a AI, like war is going on, whether I will use the AI army or I will not use the AI army. So here my rationality goes, how I will be using it. So naturally in that case, so calculative thinking need to be balanced with the meditative thinking. So criteria for this, that how I will think is the rationality. So reasoning is very important. Then only I can disclose myself. Otherwise, I will be standing in reserved. I will, that criteria, I will do what others are saying. Everyone is saying the war between the Israel and Palestine is bad, so I will also say war between the Israel and Palestine is bad. But what solution I will be trying to come up with it, that is my rational thinking. Why it is only just for saying it is bad, but why and how, and that whatness is I need to come it out. That is very important, I feel so. and therefore that criteria is the rationality, is the criteria. I feel Rao sir, that need to be there.
I am
Reason-
tempted to intervene that calculative thinking itself is a form of rationality, what is called instrumental rationality. And when we talk about instrumental rationality and an alternative to that, that may be another form of rationality, what Habermas called communicative rationality. So saying the word rationality will not solve the problem.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Rao sir, only
Yes,
just
madam. Yes,
I
please.
remember.
We'll go to Ranjit sir. Maybe Valmiki madam has a punch. She
No,
will give something good.
just Rina had mentioned. No, I just wanted to say Rina had mentioned both Immanuel Kant and Kierkegaard, and I think they were completely influenced. Though they were so differing from Kant and Marx and others, but they were completely influenced. Heidegger, because Nietzsche was influenced by Kant also, and this legacy was carried on by Heidegger. And this connection between morality and rationality that Rina brought out in the paper also. And this is where you have to be rational. And reason cannot take you astray, cannot misguide. This is what I learned from the paper.
Thank you so much, madam. Well, from this, what can be said is whatever may be the philosophy, how good it may be, the center of everything is man and man alone. He is the cause of all problems. If you take rationality whatsoever, if he is not making a right choice, the problem stays there. And what Professor Valmiki suggested is it is a Kantian philosophy that is taken ahead, not to use anything somebody as a means. Okay, that is the problem. When we take something as a means or somebody as a means to something else, there lies the problem. So it is addressed to Heidegger. Well, we'll come back to this debate. But let us move to Dr. Ghosh. Sir, namaskar, sir. Please, your views and your queries. Dr. Ghosh. Yes, namaskar, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rao.
I'm very sorry, sir.
Am I not audible?
I'm sorry, sir. I said I
Audible, sir. Audible, sir.
There's a lot of disturbance here, so I can't even close the window. That's why you may be getting disturbed. Anyway, so we must congratulate Dr. Rina Padurkar because she has taken up a very difficult topic regarding the critique of technology by Heidegger. Now, Heidegger is a philosopher who is a link between the phenomenologist and the existentialist. So we have to keep it in mind. And another thing, the observations I have made from her lecture is this, that one thing is sure, that the design of being in the world is not to be studied through technology, as Heidegger says, because he says it is dangerous to study design with technology, because for authenticity and authentic existence, Heidegger brings certain observations on technology. He is trying to say that technology is not neutral. Technology is not a human activity. Technology is a way of revealing. And so all these three taken together makes technology as not technological. This is what I have observed. Now, if it is dangerous to study being with, because you see, the primary aim of Heidegger is to give us an ontology of being. So he is trying to bring a critique of technology for this purpose. He is probably bringing the clue from the Greek Aristotelian classification of science into three types. That is theoretical science, practical science, and the productive science. And this productive science is technology in the Aristotelian sense. So, when Dr. Rina was presenting her lecture, we have seen that she is also bringing reference from the Greek concepts, and it is definitely, I should say, it's a difficult topic. So we should not make any conclusion out of this. Now, one thing on this, I have now one question that remains. We just have not got an answer of it, and the question and this question remains open, that whether we should have a calculative thinking with technology, even if we are entering into an inauthentic existence, or we should go for meditative thinking in order to have a search for, or have to arrive at our authentic existence. So this is the question. The question remains that whether, I'm repeating again, whether we should have a calculative thinking which will lead us to inauthentic existence with technology, or we should have a meditative existence, a meditative thinking for our authentic existence. So, how would you respond to this? Thank you.
Thank you, Ghosh sir. As you said that in relation to this, I want to answer in such a manner as earlier also I said, where Heidegger says that yes to the limited technology and no to the excess amount of technology. So calculative thinking excess, or we need to limitize, and meditative thinking also limitation. So it should be the balanced one. If it is a balancing one, then only we will get an answer. If it is only calculative or only meditative, answer will not be there. Whether to lead into the authentic or inauthentic, we will be leading into the, if it is excess amount of calculative, inauthentic life, excess amount of meditative, it will also lead to the inauthentic life. So if will be the balance of both things, then only we will lead to the authentic life. That I get it from my paper only. And what are the writings of Heidegger?
So thank you, Dr.
Thank
Rina.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rina. Well, very rational way out, avoiding the extremes and going in between the calculative thinking and the meditative thinking, the problems with the calculative thinking and also the problems with meditative thinking. So taking this, you have come with a practical position, taking a mean position between the calculative thinking, because you cannot avoid that too. And that is the scientific thinking that we are in. So we cannot avoid that. And meditative thinking is the right way of thinking, which we cannot put at a loss. Okay, so the balance that you suggest is, well, I think a rational way to come out of a situation where the calculative thinking and also the meditative thinking go hand in hand when we take a intermediate position. And I think that is the right position to take. And I think it's a personal opinion, but still, I think it's the balanced position that we may have with reference to Heidegger in philosophy. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rina. Well, well, let us move to Radhanath Bera sir. Well, you have Dr. Radhanath Bera sir. Well, he's there. Or anybody who has a question to Dr. Rina madam. Well, Radhanath Bera sir is there. Yes, sir. Please sir. Namaskar, sir. Please.
Namaskar. Thank you, Dr. Rao. I was really astounded that how philosophy tries to enter into the realm of science and technology. Rina madam has explicitly done the very difficult job asking philosophical thought to run into the boundary of science and technology. As I understand, being a student of science, not very much inclined towards philosophy, in a sort of academic atmosphere, I feel that it is the duty of every thinking man to rationalize, to go deep into a problem and come out, if possible, with a solution. The topic of today being a part of explanation for science and its application to technology, I feel that it is our duty to examine how far our existential philosopher has succeeded in analyzing the problem. I think he has gone to a sort of contradiction. Contradiction in the sense, by remaining aloof from the crowd, from the herd mentality, he has created a crowd and asked people around him that they may follow his thinking, the way of his meditative frame of mind, and so on. So, this is a very big contradiction from the philosophical point of view. But scientists like Einstein, they have already warned about the outcome of the scientific inventions or the technological methods or methodology. Bertrand Russell, a very great scientific philosopher of the 20th century, warned us with a very pragmatic saying, as skill increases, wisdom fades. We sharpen our skill only in order to kill each of us as fast as possible. That was witnessed during the last two world wars. So the philosophy emerged from killing a man on mass scale. 100 years ago, Oswald Spengler, the German philosopher, again pointed out that as scientific invention goes or runs so fast that human being is unable to keep pace with it. Therefore, he cried for a scientific holiday. Please stop. Do not move so fast because science is essentially an ingredient for providing human happiness. But at the same time, it moves so fast that we do not know whether it is a ban or a boon. Therefore, philosophers have already cautioned us. Nothing like Kierkegaard or Heidelberg. Those people who think of themselves. Now look at the scenario. How many human beings like Socrates, Plato, or to our own age, Derrida, Bertrand Russell, have been produced? Very few. So when they address people, they do not ask the masses of men because they are unthinking people. They cannot be thinking about the next step because their intellectuality has not been developed. Therefore, they look at philosophers for guidance, for the direction. And philosophers, with their limited mind but infinite hope, they move from one step to another. I recall a scientist's opinion because there was a scientist, a physicist called the genius, and he was attending a philosophy congress, and people were quarreling among themselves. He watched from a distance and saw that they were all saying the same thing in different languages or different words. The point of contention was not there. They all indirectly agreed with each other, but apparently they were finding out that he is wrong, I am right. So this type of mentality develops only when we objectively fail to reach a goal. Our goal is not instrumentalism, not technology, but the right use of them for the benefit of human welfare. Otherwise, the whole earth may perish in flames. Two world wars cautioned us that we are not our own architect, the designer of our own fate. Therefore, let us not blame anyone but ourselves. or of the pitiable sight we're facing, or the finality of human survival in this tragic world. Therefore, the best thing would be not to complain that the world is baseless, unthinking, because we human beings are mostly unintelligent and we think of ourselves running away from the real aspect of human existence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Behera, for your observations. Well, I don't think any question, specific question is there for Dr. Rina, but still, what is problematic is that in Heidegger, uh, the problem that Dr. Rina highlights is the standing reserve, and this is problematic in the sense because it takes away a sense of humanity. Okay, because it treats everything as a means, as an instrument. That is dangerous. But the thing that we need to understand is when you take anything, even a human being, as an instrument to something else, as a means, and the standing reserve is all about taking someone as a means. So that is the problem that she is trying to address. Because if we take human beings as the means themselves, because the standing reserve implies taking someone as the means, and that will take away humanity from human beings. That there lies the problem, which I understand. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Anybody who wants to make a comment or anybody carries a question, they are welcome. I'll wait for half a minute. Anybody, any suggestion, any comment or cross comment? Well, Dr. Valmiki, madam, please.
Shall I? I'm extremely sorry.
Yes,
But
your requirement, please, madam, please.
I was enchanted by the paper because I loved the way she presented. The point is still this, when she's talking about the authentic this thing, we find that the Jews had no choice, but the Germans had choice. And there were so many Germans at that time who were completely anti to Hitler. And one of the Steven Spielberg made Schindler's List, and you find that the Germans did have a choice, and so many Jews were saved by Germans, and it was making deliberate choice, even though when they knew that if they are caught, they will be killed mercilessly, ruthlessly, and they were ready for that. So Heidegger becomes very meaningful in this context, because if you go with bad faith and if you go have an herd mentality, then the problem is that you are never you are losing your authenticity, and this way you are losing your morality. And so Germans were there who really supported the idea of having peace. And even though Jews' atrocity initially, which prompted Hitler to do this, anyway, Hitler was at any point not right in taking such a kind of a step, but they prompted him to do this, and still there were Germans who were ready to save Jews. And even today, when you visit Germany, people are not smiling openly. And they are not very happy within, because at one point when I spoke to so many during this visiting faculty lectures, I found that there were so many Germans who said that we are ashamed of what happened by Germany to the world. And this is where Heidegger becomes meaningful, and therefore authentic self makes you think. And Germans really had choice. And even though knowing that the resultant would be very bad, they still went on with the conviction that we have to save Jews. And so many of them died also in this process. So thank you, Rina Madam, for giving
Sir,
this.
ma'am, on this, I remind the Charlie Chaplin's movie Great Dictator.
Yes. The great
saying what
dictator.
you are saying. It is resonate the same thing what ma'am is saying.
Yes,
This is the
yes.
last speech in the movie. It speaks
Movie.
about what exactly it is, the
Yeah, yeah.
existentialism.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Valmiki, madam, for adding this, and thank you so much. Well, Dr. Baharana, or anybody else, any suggestion, any question, any observation to make? Well, I don't find any. Right now, let us move to our admin for his observations or queries. Yes, but Doctor,
May I say something?
yes, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. We have time. Yes, sir. Please.
Actually, last week I was writing a paper on authenticity in Sartre. Then I found that this whole idea of authenticity in Sartre is somewhat very similar to that of Heidegger. But in the end, what happened after Second World War, he could not develop an ethics of authenticity, which he promised in his Being and Nothingness. And throughout his life, he tried but failed, and he could not come out with any type of ethics. So, this problem of ethics runs all through the concept of authenticity, whether from Heidegger or from Sartre or anybody else. So, the whole idea of making a choice when there are very much limited social freedom, then you have only that type of stoic freedom, or what you call mysticism, or it is a sort of quietism. So you land into a world in which nothing can be changed. So this problem is with the authenticity, with the authentic idea of authentic life, that sounds very good. But for the masses, this is not an open possibility most of the time. So I think with this limitation to the concept of authentic living, and we must go into the ways in which the society, as Professor Behra said, that you could not live alone. You will have to go to mountains. Mystic can live alone, but a mystic is an exception. Some ordinary human being is a social individual, and he has to earn his living and all these things in a given social setup, and that dictates on his or her choices. So this whole idea of authenticity, I myself was very, very much optimistic about it, but after a week's study, I found it very, very problematic. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Tandon. We'll move to Dr. Das, but one thing, Dr. Behra will come to you back later on. Well, in the state of nature where the freedom itself is limited, where the freedom itself is curtailed, so where lies the freedom? Anyway, we'll come back to this. Well, with Dr. Behra, let us move to Professor Das, listen to him, and then come back. Dr. Das. Dr. Das, please.
Yes, yes. Am I audible, sir?
You're audible, sir. Audible.
Um, I shall appreciate. As usual, I always appreciate the speaker for his or her sincere effort, sincere study, sincere presentation, sincere response. For everything, I congratulate Rina Madam for her daring attempt in clearing the doubts of the questioners, viewers. Anyway, from her presentation, from her deliberation, what I came to know that the general philosophy of existentialism uh, says something, but here we made a U-turn. What is that? Existentialism says two things specifically. that man is thrown into this world and man is condemned to be free. The second one is the second mark is not supported by Heidegger. It is true that I am thrown to this selfish world where all people are unpredictable. All people are self. Suppose think so, because I don't know what the world is. I am thrown into a strange world where people are supposed to be selfish, where people are supposed to be self-centered, calculative. They are guided by their calculative thinking, give and take relationship, following hard mentality. In this world, I am thrown into, but I am not condemned to be free, because I know the ultimate timing, that is death. That death is approaching. At any moment I may die. Therefore, every moment is precious for me. This is the great thing Rina Madam said in the beginning of her presentation, that time is so precious because any moment may be the moment of death, and death is not a casual thing, death is a must. We have to accept this hard reality, that death is approaching. At any moment death may approach. Therefore, every moment I am living, that is important, that is precious. Therefore, at every moment I have to exercise my freedom, and I have to remain accountable, responsible for that freedom. Then what should be the nature of that freedom? Should it be condemned? Should I follow what others are doing? Should I follow what teachers are saying? Should I follow what scriptures are saying? Or should I meditate? This is the question. Should I become a follower? Or should I become a person who can meditate upon? Because I have a rational mind. I have an intuitive mind. And I see my death. I see the paucity of time. I understand the importance of time. So at that moment, I am the last man to follow others, because I have spent 50 years, 60 years following others. So time has come to be conscious of the time itself. Time has come to reveal the reality according to my free choice. I am not there to follow anybody else. That does not mean that I am alone. That does not mean that I am entering into the world of solitude. That does not mean that I am going to Himalayas and I shall meditate there. That does not mean that I am alone. It simply means that I should have a meditative mind and a highly cultured mind. That mind which cannot be condemned by freedom, rather can have the best use of freedom. Because time is precious and I am a rational being. So I can be free in the proper way, that is my rationality, and I can be accountable for my freedom, that is my morality. Because as I am conscious of my freedom, and I take my freedom very seriously, so that it would be constructive by nature, it would be creative by nature. At the same time, I shall remain accountable for my freedom, that is morality. So rationally I shall choose something, and morally I shall hold that. I shall not leave that in the middle. I shall hold that. I shall be accountable for that. I shall be responsible for that. So this is a model of a human mind. This is my mind. This is the mind of a philosopher. So with that mind, if every person will develop their thoughts and they will never become a blind follower. Here follower means the blind follower. That others are doing, therefore I shall do. I am not a machine. I am not a my technology is different. My technology is a rational technology. My brain, the exercise of my brain cannot be compared with an ATM machine. I have created that machine. I have created the calculator, but I should not be a victim of the technology. So here, meditation does not mean that I am aligned. Second thing, not that the 2% people are mystic. I shall say 2% people are not mystic, because every person has his or her a very silent zone. Nirvikalpa, it is called Nirvikalpa in the Naya system. That there is a moment of silence, there is a moment of meditation, there is a very quiet moment where we are personal to ourselves. We return to ourselves. From that only speculation starts. From that only thinking starts. Then it wanders here and there. Then we become more critical, philosophical. All these things comes from that 0 point. That 0 point is my realization. That 0 point is my meditative mind. How I understand freedom, how I understand the relativity of this world, how I understand how I understand the changing aspect of this world, how I understand the people living around me, how they are selfish, how they are self-centered, how they are helpful, etc. Because all people are not same. In spite of such problems, I have my rational mind, and that rational mind is also intuitive by nature, by God's grace. I am endowed with such a mind. That mind can go beyond. That mind may not follow. That mind may go beyond. That mind can assimilate the diversities. That mind can synthesize everything. That mind can be inclusive by nature. So this is a higher thinking, I shall say, and this is slightly different from the common understanding of existentialism, where we take help of a bad faith. And bad faith is not a choice. Bad faith is a consequence. We suffer from bad faith because our mind is not meditative. Why should we entertain bad faith? Why should we always wear the mask, making us thinking us something which we are not? We should not be, a rational mind should not have a bad faith. So here we should not entertain any bad faith. Rather, we should have a very constructive faith. As a philosopher, we should not follow anybody. We should not do what others are doing. This is the human thought does not go in the democratic way, that many people are supporting one, therefore I shall support it. No. All may support one thing. I am the single person who may differ. That is freedom in the true sense. I can differ even what the great scholars can say. This is human freedom. And that freedom, that strength comes when mind becomes zero, when mind becomes nirvikalpa, when mind enters into that mystic point. All the time we are not calculative. We become only calculative in the marketplace. We only become calculative when we have a Vaishya Vritti. When we are in a debate, that I have to win in the debate, there I can make calculation. But my nature is not that. My nature is meditative because I want a peace. So the frustration should not be the consequence of existentialism. Mystical peace, mystical ananda, that enjoyment, peaceful existence should be the goal of existentialism. So this is a new outlook. This is a new direction, as I understood from Rina Madam's topic. So mysticism is not bad. It is very natural to human mind. It is very natural. We from the childhood, we rather, I shall say, day by day we are being alienated from, we are being separated from, we are making distance from that mind of solitude, that mind of meditation, that mind of equanimity. We are getting distracted day by day in the name of technology, in the name of the modernity.
So much.
Thank you, Dr. Das. Well, two good things come from the entire observation of Dr. Das. One is, in the state of nature, whatsoever be the nature of freedom that we have, full freedom, curtailed freedom, or limited freedom, whatever be the freedom in the state of nature, take the. And the second thing Dr. Das talks of is, don't be calculative in everything. Calculative thinking is needed, but don't be calculative, because you have a intuitive mind and you make the best use of that intuitive mind, so that you, apart from being calculative, you have a point to move inwards, where you feel inward. Okay, you can move inward to decide what you are, and that will help you to make free exercise of your choices, makes you to make a true understanding of what reason is, and to make a best expression of rationality. And another good thing that he said is, we suffer from bad faith because of the calculative thinking. If you are in a meditative state of mind, if you are into your own intuitive nature, you you come out of the problems linked with bad faith. Okay, and you come out what Heidegger, the problems that Heidegger sees. And that's how his philosophy is a great message to
I shall,
one and
Dr.
all.
Rao, I shall give a very common example, very simple example. In a family, what happens? Father, makes a very strong argument with your mother, wife, husband, wife. That is it. And father is very much rational in his argument. Okay. But the mother is meditative by nature. Here you see how meditative mind goes beyond the argumentative mind. Argumentative mind is rational, because whatever father, in many family it happens. Father is very rational. Father say this should be done, so why it is not done? Explain me. So mother will go on explaining. Sometimes mother will support the child. So this is his exam time. Don't ask now. You can ask this question, this rational question after the exam. The mother handles all such problems because her mind is meditative. Mother knows that father is her husband is right and the child is really wrong. But this is not the proper time to interrogate, because early morning he will go to appear the exam. So how can this be addressed? Though it is correct that father is correct, husband is correct, the guardian of the family is correct, but this time I shall use my intuitive mind, my meditative mind, my zero mind to solve this problem holistically, because we have, sometimes we should be all inclusive. Here I don't take into account of the rationality of my husband. Here I am also taking the emotional aspects of my family, the seriousness of exam, that my son or daughter will appear exam next morning. So a meditative mind is open for all possibilities. Rational mind is inferior to intuitive mind, meditative mind. I shall say, here we all sit together. We are having a very beautiful discussion. We are hearing the criticisms also. We are accepting the criticisms with smiles only because we have a neutral mind, only because we have a meditative mind. Otherwise, it is not possible. Otherwise, we shall fight with each other. No, I am right. You are wrong. Why we are silent? Because we have a silent mind. That silent mind is comprehensive, is all inclusive, and that person can be qualified for a leader. That should be a statesman. That should be the nature of a king. That should be the guardian of the family. Otherwise, not. So this is the capacity of our mind, and very well it is discussed in Indian text. We are discussing it in Heidegger and Western philosophers. They were so much astonished how it happens. But it is a very common thing in Bhagavad Gita. It is a very common thing in Vedas and Upanishads. That philosophy starts from this. Philosophy in India, Indian context, starts from that mind. I have that mind. And very beautiful sentence I shall say now, last sentence. From that intuitive mind, from that meditative mind, speculation starts. Scientific hypothesis starts. Then we enter into criticisms. Then we enter into the dialogues. Then we enter into different types of understandings. Then we build systems. All these things come second, but the first one, Newton asked the question, why everything falls down? This comes from his intuitive mind, not from the scientific mind. This idea, this question came to his intuitive mind, meditative mind. When he is silent, he is not disturbed by anything else. Great thoughts, great discoveries, great inventions have been made from the silent mind only, meditative mind, not by the disturbed mind. Therefore, Arjuna could not fight in the battlefield till his mind became quiet, disciplined, meditative. This is my submission. Rina Madam made a
Yes,
new
sir.
chapter. She justified that. You see, all these things have no end. If we'll go on calculating, calculation has no end. Calculation enter also into the family. Husband says, my GPF money. Mom, wife will say, my money, my father, your father. Calculation will run after you till you die. But there is a time to stop calculation, to meditate upon what can be united, how can the society can be united, how can the nations can be united. Because of this
Yes.
calculative mind, now we are observing wars around everywhere. Wars, fighting. Iran, Israel, Ukraine, fighting. All are fighting. Fightings between regimes, fighting between religions. Because we are calculating. I am superior, that is inferior. My society is great, that society is not great. Only
Yes, sir.
because we are human beings and we are rational. Not only we are rational for our morality. Rationality without morality is not. It is not existentialism. Existentialism means that I am confronted with many choices. Number one, I have to choose. I have to choose one, and that choice should be rational. Number three, morality comes when I shall be accountable. I shall be responsible for the choice that I have chosen. Simplest thing. Then whatever may be the consequence. This is Niskam Karma in Bhagavad Gita. I have a free choice to do a karma. I did that and I am ready to get its consequence at any cost. Yes. All people cannot be right. Dr. Rao, all people cannot be right. So many decisions, I am asking you, Dr. Rao, personally, many decisions that you take in your family, that only comes from your mind. Because if you will ask your wife, then you can't take a decision. Some decisions that is very personal to you, and you try to impose it because you think this comes my meditation that it would be good for my family. In politics, it happens. In society, it happens. That happens. We pretend many times that I am social. I follow your opinions. I am with all of you. But actually, I do what I think to be right. What I think to be the best for my family. Okay. Sometimes we tell a lie also. That yes, I was thinking like you. But that was not my thought. I am many times I think and I justify my thought because I have an intuitive power to judge that this would be good for my family, this would be good for my society, this would be good for the nation, and that is the real freedom. Freedom we exercise, freedom we experience, freedom we exercised. But at the end, we are suffering from our freedom. This is not rationality. I exercise my freedom and I experience my freedom. I am enjoying my freedom. If you say this is mysticism, then yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Das sir. So nicely you put everything. Really, when you are saying, talking that time, it reminded me Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. That is the balanced state or equanimity of state of mind is so important in every walks of life. If it is not there, we are going to face the problems. That to solve the problems, we need to remain balanced. And so it is like only balanced attitude can able to sort out our problem. Thank you, Dasa. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Das, Dr. Rina. Well, sir, Dr. Mahana, one thing. Well, Dr. Behera wanted to say something, sir, but don't be long, sir. In one line or two, you wanted to say something towards the end. Just we want to listen to what you said. One or two lines, sir, please. One or two lines, because we don't have time.
As Dr. Das said, finally, he was quoting Gita. I am reminded of simple a line, Jatha Ishyasi Tatha Kuru. At last, Lord Krishna gives this sane advice to Arjuna, baffled by the groundwork. I have given you everything what is rational, what is empirical, what is metaphysical. Everything is given to you. But I leave it to your choice to exercise your freedom. Jatha Ichhasi Tatha Kuru. Do as your conscience dictates you. So this is the only thing that we require in this problem-ridden world, surrounded by all deadly weapons of mass extermination. So what is to be done is to sit quietly, as the Indian rishis did in the past, contemplate on the future of mankind, of the world, because life does not actually is hunted by death. Beauty is hunted by decay. Therefore, as the sloka says, lead me from mortality to immortality, from falsehood to truth, and so on. So thank you very much. Rina Madam, once more I thank you from every standpoint, because I being a student of mathematics,
Thank you, sir.
I know.
Thank you, Dr. Behera. Thank you, sir.
I know what is truth, what is falsehood. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Behera. Let us move to Dr. Maharna for final vote of thanks. You can have your observations and also vote of thanks. Please,
Okay.
Dr. Maharna.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Rao. So after the talk of Dr. Rina, I was mindfully listening to all the observations and the comments made by Dr. Alok Tandon sir, Dr. Amita Balmiki madam, Dr. Ranjit Ghosh sir, Dr. Behera, Dr. Piketas, and Dr. Rao. So, and I also read the actually comments and observation given in the chat box. Okay, so all the learned professors have given their own stand, own reflective thought, and on this issue. And I have to learn from each and every learning participant. Okay, when they are giving their observation and comment on the issue. And that reminds me that Heidegger's insight into the nature of technology and its consequence for human existence it has a modern approach and that use. And he has given an ontology of technology for the first time that I knew. That as he said, that technology represents a distinctive mode of revealing the truth, and it shapes human existence, and it is also a way of understanding world. And as Dr. Rina had said, that both the calculative technological thinking and meditative thinking, actually both the balance, both are helpful for us. And Dr. Das was also concentrating on it, and both lead to creative thinking, and both are integral to human thinking, and both are integral to human existence. And when Dr. Behera, Dr. Das, they were concentrating on this topic, so I found that there is a movement from the technology of common sense understanding to the technology of consciousness. In Indian context, that Dr. Das has said, that I can see a technology of consciousness in it, and that is it is a movement from the calculative thinking to a meditative thinking. And the technology of consciousness is to extend our consciousness, and it is a technology of concrete consciousness to a spiritual consciousness, where there is an infinite freedom is there. Infinite freedom is there, because if you say the consciousness is an awareness, and it is a technology that you can say, and it's a technology that is for oneself to other self, to see the entire world in a that is in a holistic view. It is a holistic vision that you can say. So in Indian context, in our philosophy, when we take the Gita and the others, so you can say a holistic vision, a holistic outlook. That is the that we can say that Heidegger, that is has taken insight to it. Okay, so but from the Heidegger's point of view, we can raise our consciousness. We can extend our consciousness to the spiritual consciousness, from the concrete consciousness to the spiritual consciousness, where there is a ample freedom, where there is the infinite freedom that is there in philosophy. So, so this is my view that so on this occasion I must put my that extend my congratulation and gratitude to Dr. Rina, the way she has presented the entire view, the conceptual analysis of Heidegger's view on technology, and she has tossed everything when she was responding to Dr. Tondon, Dr. Balmiki, Dr. Bose, Dr. Beher, and others. So I was mindfully listening to that is her approach, that is the approach that she was using. It's very praiseworthy. That is, she has a very comprehensive knowledge, comprehensive understanding of the Heidegger's view, Heidegger's the concept of technology. So I must propose my vote of thanks. I extend my gratitude to Dr. Rina, the way she has presented a very new topic, a very technical paper, technical subject into very simple form, that I best, and I extend my congratulations to her. I extend my congratulations to Dr. Amita Balmiki. Amita Balmiki is always with us. Okay, so that is she's like our guide. She's like our friend, and whenever we are in need of they're taking any speaker, she comes forward and helps us. So we extend our gratitude, Amita Balmiki madam, for guidance and for cooperation and design projects. And I also extend my gratitude to Dr. Alok Tandon sir, Dr. Ranjit Ghosh sir, Dr. Behra sir, the way they put their observation on every webinar. That is, it is like a platform of learning new things from them, from the senior professors. Okay, like them. So I also extend my gratitude to Dr. P.K. Das and Dr. K. Rao for their new way of understanding the concept and new way of reflecting the entire concept in Indian context. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Das.
Yes, I shall speak only one sentence about Rina Madam.
Yes, sir.
When we are discussing about existentialism, we should be so much confident because generally what we understand about existentialism, according to many existentialist philosophers, the contribution of her today's deliberation goes in favor of a different taste of human existence. Please underline this. Human existence is common, that is discussed in existentialism, but the flavor of human existence, that can be different. So this is the standpoint of Heidegger. So what? Okay. So this is the point, because the flavor of existence, the perspective of existence will be different. We are not supposed to only say that man is condemned to be free, human life will end in despair, and everything is doubtful. No, there is another dimension of human existence that we discussed today that can be, and that is very much experienced in our Indian culture. Thank you, madam, for your very nice effort.
Thank you,
After
sir.
all, you are a hero in academic field, because when so many questions are coming unexpectedly beyond your expectation, still you hold yourself. That is meditative mind. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
With
Thank you
this
so much.
session, is the
Today
conclusion.
you are on the club. Your version is very nice. Actually, the best paper that you have presented in the family. Okay, that's
Oh,
one.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
But one thing, I was going through the book, the edited book. One confusion I have. You
Okay.
have referred that Abhimanyu learned the art of Chakravyuha, entering into the Chakravyuha from Krishna. Is it from Krishna or Arjuna?
No, sir. It is my point of view. Neither Krishna nor Arjuna. It's me.
So
Krishna.
I'll delete that portion. I'll make it accordingly. Okay. Because
No,
certain references say it is
No,
from
no,
Arjuna,
sir.
some say
No,
it is
sir.
from
sir,
Krishna.
it was from Krishna.
It was
No,
from Krishna.
I said, ma'am,
But
it's
some
from my
references say
viewpoint of
that it
view.
was from Arjuna. So there was a confusion. So I will eliminate that confusion and make it accordingly. Okay. Anyway, thank you.
And Dr. Rao is a very good editor. Very good editor. He's so humble,
Excellent.
so liberal, so humble, so liberal. The way he's asking, that shows his greatness. Thank you. With
Dr.
this
Rao,
session
really thankful. Salute to your patience,
Yes.
yes. In spite of his bad health, madam. In spite of his bad health.
Oh,
Yes, yeah.
He was suffering from
Yeah.
fever and cold for many days.
Array.
take care.
And he's going to his college Delhi, up and down 25 kilometers up and 20 kilometers down. That is also very head. Anyway, we shall
No.
conclude here.
It is
We shall,
common in that is common in Mumbai because it is place that is common. They do travel. That is not a
Thank you,
problem.
thank you,
Anyway,
thank you, thank you.
thank you,
Thank you
thank you, thank you.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
thank you.
Rina
Namaskar,
madam.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Grateful,
Thank you,
grateful
sir.
to all of you. Grateful to all of you.